previous Office 365 session. And really what I want people on the call to do is kind of use this session as a bit of a catalyst for yourselves, in the way of, if you want to drill down any further, or you want us to run a specific session on a specific topic, please let myself or Simon know, and then we can then arrange these things for you in that respect. So I've got a bit of an agenda of what we're going to cover today, and it really kind of runs down like this. So I want to make sure that from the last session that everyone is really kind of happy about what is Office Online, as in comparison to having the software installed on your machine. So that great web interface that allows us to access all these great resources from one point. So making sure we're all happy with that is going to be key. Going to talk more and go more in depth into using OneDrive as your home folder, to make sure that you've got your information, your documents to hand in your OneDrive, that you can access safely, securely, and in a compliant manner from everywhere that you need to. Also taking a look at Immersive Reader. Again, we touched on it briefly last time, but want to show you where Immersive Reader is really occurring. So things like in obviously Microsoft Word, but also when you are simply using the Microsoft Edge browser and other places I'll show you as well. But to make sure that, again, you're happy with that, where to find that and where you can bring most benefit to students as well. We touched on really briefly at the end of the last session about using Sway. So we will have a bit more of a deeper dive into Sway, about how you can create content and how you can share that with colleagues. And of course, Microsoft Forms is a really important part of Office 365, which allows you to create quizzes, create forms. And if you join us for our next session, we'll be looking about how we integrate those forms into Microsoft Teams as well, from an assignments process. If you're not using it already, we will have a quick intro into Flipgrid, which was a Microsoft acquisition a couple of years back, about how we can bring video to life in lessons and get students using the technology that they have at home to really offer sort of interactive assignments and knowledge as well. Going to also touch on Minecraft. It's part of Office 365. You have it in your in the majority, if your school is licensed for Microsoft Office 365 A3, you actually have Minecraft already. But there's some great resources in the way of lesson plans, curriculum stuff, social emotional learning, and things like that, which we can deliver through Minecraft as well. So again, just thinking about how that integrates into Office 365 to allow you to do more. And then we're just going to say it's going to be a bit of a packed agenda, but we're going to have a look at OneNote. OneNote we touched on within Teams last session, but we are looking at OneNote more in the personal use as your digital pen and paper. And then lastly, we'll wrap off by making sure that everybody knows how to get onto the Microsoft Educator Community and become a Microsoft Innovative Educator, and the requirements that we need to do that. So on my call as last week, and as he's already spoken, I've got Simon Mobbs. Simon's going to be my kind of my demo student for today. So Simon, I'm going to kind of load you up with some homework and things like that as we go through the session. Simon's going to be kind of, for me being the teacher, Simon's going to be the student, so he can fill in a few forms for us as we go through the session. So let me just pop out of that and let's get started with Office 365. So Office 365, as I mentioned, first of all, the Office Online homepage. This is just simply a couple of seconds recap, but we really want to make sure that you're getting the best out of your Office 365 subscription. So the Office cloud service that runs in any browser on any device will give you the exact same feel and functionality across any device and browser that you're using. So to get to it very simply, the only website that we need to be aware of is office.com. So in any browser, we can go to office.com. We can sign in with our school Office 365 account, and you will be able to see this page. Now, as we generate information, as we create documents in our Office 365 kind of life, what we'll then see is we see the kind of Office 365 helper, the AI helper that sits behind the scenes. What that will do is that will start building you a kind of picture of where your workload is, if you see what I mean. So things that we have that I've been working on recently are listed up the top here. So in theory, if I've been working on them recently, it thinks I'm still working on them. So I should be wanting to get those as quick as possible. So that's why they're at the top of the screen. And then as we look down the list, we will see things that are, in other terms, more recent documents, things that I might have pinned onto my kind of start wall here, and things that are shared with me. So if I go to my shared with me section, you can see here, this is where I've got a computing notebook which has been shared with me. So it's not something that I've created, but I've got access to. So again, if someone in your school or as as a teacher, you are sharing and collaborating with people, this is where you would find that quick launch area to go to those files. So these may be Word documents, these may be PowerPoint documents, but in this case here, I've got the OneNote document itself. So also to remember, just in case, we've got all of the apps that you want to see down the side. So things like Word Online, Excel and PowerPoint. And remember, these are the applications running in a web browser, okay? So as I said last time, being used Microsoft Office for many years, but what I now do is I now use Office Online because it gives me all of the functionality that I use. I don't use 100% of Microsoft Word because I've never had to know all of 100% of Microsoft Word. So these are quick, light, super functional apps which you can use, and you can jump from machine to machine and experience things exactly the same. So just remember that office.com, sign in with your school account, your password, and here are your resources. Now, lastly, just wanted to shout out that over here in the top right-hand corner, you may well see a button that does say Install Office. Okay. Now, if you have in your licensing, you have what we call the Office Pro Plus entitlement. This does actually mean that you can download the desktop version of Microsoft Office onto up to 5 different desktop PCs or laptops, tablets and phones. So this is a free entitlement you can get. It's part of the Microsoft A3 licensing, but you can also add it to, if you're not on that A3 license and you're on the slightly older licensing, you can add that to it for free. And if you're buying a computer at Christmas and you do want to put Microsoft Office on it, you can simply click here. You can install Office and you'll be able to install that on a device or up to 5 devices for absolutely free. And again, if you have any questions about it, please, just contact myself or Simon, and we can run you through that as well. So wanted to really focus now on that OneDrive experience a little bit more than we did last week, last session. So OneDrive itself, again, just as a recap, is our 1 terabytes worth of storage that we see in the cloud in that respect. So this really needs to kind of become making sure it becomes your home folder, your documents folder. So we do have various ways in which we can migrate information off your existing servers into your OneDrive. And as I say, make sure you think about it as your home folder space secure in the cloud. So we have on the screen in front of us a few documents. We have a couple of folders. We have 2 Word documents, 2 PowerPoint documents. So the idea of this is anything that you store in your OneDrive space is entirely private unless you decide that you want to share and collaborate with somebody. And even at that point, the sharing and collaboration is down to you. It's down to what you want to share and in what way you want to share it. So if you take the document that says this one here, the ICT Services Training document, which is shared, I determine, do I want the person I want to share it with to be able to only view it, or do I want that person to be able to real-time collaborate with me? So it may be a case of if you've got students using Office 365, you may well be thinking about collaborating with or giving students the ability to maybe update a page of information each or something like that. And it's for you to decide when you want to stop sharing. Now, of course, when I've got this document here shared, by doing that, what I'm doing is I'm granting, for example, here, Simon, the permission to edit my document in that respect. But Simon can't see any of the other documents that sit in my space. Okay, so we're granting them a permission on that particular document only, not the folder it sits in or not any other documents, but purely the document that we see in front of us. Now, of course, we showed you last time that if we were actually editing that document itself and we were playing around with it, Simon can edit that document as well at the same time, and that leads into this real-time collaboration in using the document itself. So if I close that down and go back to my document, what we'll also see is we'll see this ability here of moving the mouse along to the 3 dots here and clicking on this menu. Okay, now this is a context menu. This is a menu which allows me to control the document. And one of the kind of big things that we kind of drill home on in Office 365 is how we're making it more, shall we say, self-service than you as a teacher having to go, hey, I need the IT guy to come and do this or do that, if you see what I mean. So one of the things I just wanted to show you here in this document is the fact that if we come across to the context menu, I've got lots of things I can do. So I can manage access. So if I've shared this with Simon, I can unshare it with Simon if I need to here. I can download the copy if I want to actually just work on it on my own device and I'm not connected to the internet. But we have this one here called version history. Now, version history on any Office 365 document that you create in school is kind of like an online backup of your document. So, for example, you may decide in that classroom environment you are going to collaborate as an experience with some of the students, and all the students jump onto it and they type all loads of things and bits and pieces. What you need as a user is you need an easy way to go back to maybe a previous version or something like that. So version history is a kind of hierarchical archive of all of the changes that you would have ever done to your document. And as you can see here, I've got now 10 versions of the document in front of me. So we can see the dates where these have been changed or modified in that respect. And what I can do is I can again go down the list. So I can say, well, perhaps Simon, I shared it with Simon on the 6th of October or something, a particular time. But I can go back and I can go back right the way to the start of the document history if I wanted to. And again, I get my 3 dots menu and I get a nice, easy way of being able to either open the file so I can have a look at it, see what version it is, see if it's the right information that I need, or I can restore the file. So restore, typically, if you didn't have this, would have been a process where you may well have had to speak to the IT support engineer that you have on site, and you'd have had to get him to go and get a backup tape and bring it round and put it in the machine and recover a file and so on and so on. But this in Office 365, whether you're in school, at home, anywhere, allows you to be able to do this yourself. So really just to kind of emphasize that you've got this kind of continuous backup scenario going on with your documents. So if you see here, if we choose restore, what I'm going to do is restore that. And at the top of the list, we now have a version 11. Okay, so version 11 is actually the same copy of version 1, but I have also kept version 10. So again, I can look at that, and if I've gone, oh dear, I've made a mistake, I need to go back and change that or something like that, that I have that ability to still go back even further in that respect. So version history, really important, peace of mind for you in the way that you organize your work in your space. Okay, so let's click on that X box there. Let's just move across to the left-hand side, and the menu that we see down the side of the page is really nice and straightforward. So you've got your My Files area, which is what we're seeing in front of us. We've got a recent list, we have a shared list, and we have the recycle bin. So again, if I click on the shared list, you'll see things that are shared with me in this Office 365 tenant. And if I've got things which I've shared out to other people, then I would see that in the shared by me area. And of course, I've got my recycle bin. So should you want to delete anything which is been in your OneDrive, and bearing in mind that you've got 1 terabytes worth of space in your OneDrive, so you don't have to really ever delete anything, but in case you do, it will also get dropped into the recycle bin. So again, like you would do on a Windows desktop PC, you would be able to use the recycle bin there. Obviously, if you have something that's on a server drive and you delete it, then again, it's gone because you don't have a recycle bin on your server drive. But if you're using OneDrive as your home folder, your place to keep your documents, you again will have this ability to recover your own documents. Okay, so we get a period of life of the document of 90 days in the recycle bin. And then once it's done that, it then goes to a second stage recycle bin. So again, you can, with your Office 365 admin tenant, will be able to recover a document older than the 90 days as well. And hopefully, obviously, by 90 days, you would have definitely realised you've deleted it and you want to find it. Okay. So OneDrive there is really good to be thinking about now, about making that data safe, pushing your work that you have into your OneDrive area. And again, as I mentioned at the start of the call, there are various ways that we can approach that. And of course, by speaking to Simon, you can talk to Simon and the team and get the best way for your school to migrate information from your on-premise server into Office 365. And obviously, if you combine that in the way of Microsoft Teams for your kind of shared information, What we really get to is a stage where we now begin to think of turning those servers off, reducing that server infrastructure, and things like that. And again, when you get down that path, these are conversations that you can certainly have with us about how we make that happen for you as well. And obviously saving you, the school, that kind of server renewal costs that we would typically associate with keeping that school infrastructure sort of up and running there. So OneDrive itself, last thing just wanted to mention on OneDrive is, of course, that if you are a smartphone user as well, you may want to think about installing the OneDrive app from the Apple Store or the Android Store. And again, signing in with your school-based Office 365 account. And this will give you the mobile version of OneDrive, where again you can still access, send, share, collaborate. If you're on the go and you just want to see something or something like that, you can do it safely and securely using your personal mobile device. So this is where the school isn't managing the device itself, it's managing the data on that device. And again, on that basis, we can obviously advise and help there as well. So that's OneDrive. Again, last call, just really, this is the tool that you want to think about to be the default place to save your work in that secure manner. So let's go back to my files. Let's just do a quick run into the good old Winston Churchill doc that we had earlier on. And again, just to think about that shout out to make sure that everybody is really cool on the things like the Immersive Reader. So again, remember, we looked at it last time by going into the View menu and choosing Immersive Reader, that symbol there, okay, to give us that nice immersive reading view. However, we do have that immersive reading view available in all of the other kind of Microsoft applications that we use on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, you've got things like in your web browser, you will be able to find a reading view when we find a document. So if I go to, for example, bbc.co.uk/, we would be able to sort of look into a document, and if it's formatted out, we would be able to read that document as well. So let me just see if I can find a document that is readable. He says that was up there, but never mind. So the reading view tools are available in documents. You'll certainly see there may well be other tools, like if we right click and we use the read aloud, for example, that will allow us to do the same thing. But what we're looking for is if you come across a website and it's got a reading, that same immersive reading icon in the in this address bar here, then the browser that you're using will be able to read that as well. So in the same way that we can read this kind of document with Immersive Reader, the browser would be able to allow you to do that as well. So just think about Immersive Reader, where it is, where it appears. It's coming to PowerPoint is the next one, but we will see it in things like Microsoft Forms in a minute, and a few other places like Flipgrid as well. And what we'll do, I think at the end of the session, I've got some resources, some Immersive Reader resources, which I'll get shared to everybody via Simon, the best way of doing that. So Immersive Reader on top of OneDrive, great tools. So let's do that thing and let's have a look at Sway. And what we're going to do is just recap that, recover the core concepts of creating good sways. We're going to link that with forms. So we're going to take forms and link it to Sway and make a great resource about space travel, which is the project I've started earlier on. So Sway off the menu, as we see down the side here, this is the Sway screen, and this is a sway that I had started earlier today. As you can see, there isn't a great deal of stuff on there. So if you remember from the last session, we build sways up simply by using cards, okay? And this can be a great resource where you want to save time as a teacher, create great resources, and maybe PowerPoint at this moment in time isn't the right thing. So if you remember, it's like a digital storytelling tool, okay? And as we're using that digital storytelling tool, Sway in the background is using its AI design algorithm to kind of create you the best design, okay? So if I take my my Sway, I've got my storyline option and my design option, okay? The design option is the output. The storyline is the content that I create. So to add a card, we're going to go to the plus sign. We're going to go to card and we're going to choose text here. And just to make it authentic, if I go up to the browser, we go to the Space Shuttle and we just go and grab some stuff like this paragraph here, just to give it some text. So if I go back to my Space Shuttle tab, just going to paste that in here, okay, and then we were still building stuff in by adding images or things like the comparison card. So we were showing you last time about the ability to take a group card, with that group card being the comparison card, choosing an image, and maybe talking about the ability to compare the space shuttle on there and the launch there. Oh, let's just drag that one into the right place. That's good. So again, we easily start building up that that sway. Now, I'm kind of looking at that thinking that doesn't look particularly good up here because it is right the way through my my screen or the screen of the space shuttle. Sorry. So again, I hit the styles button up here, and I can decide that I want to remix it. So if I remix it, I'm going to get a design. Now, sometimes I go through designs and keep going and keep going and keep going, but this now actually works for me. So as you can see, it's taken the block off the space shuttle text. I can now see the whole thing, and I am looking good. I can scroll out to the right, and my comparison card now looks really good. So I can do that as well. Okay. So again, that configuring of the kind of layout is really pretty much a one-click button. Okay, and then if I go back to up here, the sway heading, okay, we go back and we can see my sway. So next time I come to sway, it's going to be if I'm doing this as a class resource and we want to pop that up on the whiteboard, we can simply come back to sway, find my space shuttle, sway, and I'm ready to go. Okay, all I need to do is click play and it's going to be there on my whiteboard, my interactive whiteboard. If I swipe, I'll be able to move through that, and I'm not having to worry about the design in any way, shape or form. Okay, so again, likewise, as we think about everything in Office 365, we have a share button there in the top right hand corner. So if I go to the share button, okay, then I get this ability to share my sway. Now, again, the various settings are down to what you want to achieve and your school policy in that respect. So if you want to share a sway with a particular colleague, okay, we can hit the first button here, specific people or groups, and by sharing that sway, I could type in the person's email address, I can invite them, and they will get a sharing invitation in the same way that they would do if I was sharing a Microsoft Word document or a PowerPoint document in Office 365. So this ability to share is a real core skill in getting the best from making that move into the cloud for your school. Okay, so what we're doing is we are removing the ability for you know, emails and file attachments and things like that, and we're slimlining that. We're reducing the number of emails in the inbox at that point, in that respect. So that's a specific personal group. If you want to share it with everybody within that organization, and you want to ensure that whoever reads that information, they have a, inverted commas, your school email address, we choose the second option, okay? And that is for those in the organization with the link. If you don't have your school email address, you will have a login page and it won't accept you, okay? However, if you want to go further than that and you want to share externally to maybe parents or maybe other schools or something like that, then we choose the third link. And the third link is anybody with that link will be able to access that information. So again, maybe, you know, as a school newsletter, an e-newsletter, which is going to be shared out to parents. And again, remember, because this is a web page effectively, it will work fine on my Surface device that I'm using here. And alternatively, it will work fine on a smartphone as well. So you can really engage with parents by using Sway as that kind of medium rather than you know, big long lengthy emails and things like that in that respect. So you've got those three headings to be kind of aware of when you are sharing. And of course, if you're doing this internally and you want people, you know, it may be something that you are getting students to share with each other and collaborate on, we can of course change that permission from a view permission into an edit permission really easily, just by simply clicking on the radio button. So making sure we're happy to share things in Sway is really important. But again, if I go to the ... menu next to share, one of the other great things is Sway is also built around their accessibility and inclusivity as well. So again, if you are maybe in class, you wanted to make sure that this is a truly accessible Sway, I could run the accessibility checker and it will go through and it will also make me some suggestions about what I need to do to help people with any disabilities or issues that to make that really accessible to all in that respect. So again, you've got that accessibility and inclusivity built into all of the tools in Office 365. So if I just click on that Xbox there, I'm just going to go down to the last card here. And we are going to just add a media card, and I'm going to go to the embed card here. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that at the moment. I'm now going to go back to my waffle menu up here at the top, and I'm going to now find Office Forms. So Office Forms is the inbuilt forms tool in Office 365. It's actually built by the same people who built Sway. So it actually kind of looks and it's built in a very similar way. So as I go through this, you'll see how it kind of, it looks really familiar in that respect. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a quiz here in Forms, and we are going to drop that into the sway itself. Okay, so what I've done is, if I click here, I've got a race to space form that I have already created, sorry, a quiz. And first of all, let me just sort of clarify the difference between a form and a quiz. Really is quite simple. The form is the ability to simply ask questions. So if we dropped in a new form and went parents' evening, survey kind of thing, and we went to add new, and we said we had a choice question, and we said do you and I can simply type in my options here and build a form up really easily. Okay. So I can configure my form a bit, I can jazz it up, and again, in that same way that we share a sway, I've got that same ability up here to share a form. So again, looking down that list, I have this only people in my organization can respond. If I hit the down arrow, I can choose anyone with the link can respond. So if I'm wanting to make a parents' evening survey and share this with parents in my school, I can do that easily by selecting this link here. Okay, anyone with the link can respond. If I was doing it maybe as a homework assignment task in my class, I could make sure I've clicked here and gone through the only people in my organization can respond. So only people with that email address can reply to my form. If I look down here, I've got this link. So again, this could be a link that we send out to parents, send out to students, stick on our VLE, stick on Edmodo, however we want to do it. We do have some other options. So again, great one for parents' evening is the ability to use a QR code. So by creating a form and popping the QR code up on a screen, you'll be surprised how many parents bring out the mobile phone, point the phone at it, and can instantly then access that survey in that respect. We do have this thing, the embed code, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and we'll obviously have the ability to email that as well. So that is a very simple form. Now, if people use the form, we see the responses here. Okay, so as you can see, we've got no responses to this current form at the moment, but we have, no, we do have a response, even better, and we see those results in this kind of graph come tabular layout, depending on the kind of question that I've asked. But let's go back to forms and then go to this one here, which is my simple race to space quiz. So again, very similar. I've really just kind of popped a few things in there, some questions, but the difference is now that when we use a quiz, what we'll do is we click on the question that we've added, and we'll see that it has the ability to add a point score to it. So we can grade each question with a number of points. We can obviously do things like allowing multiple answers depending on the type of question. If I go to the question itself, I can I've got the option to delete, but I can add maybe a tip on there. So perhaps if you selected the USSR, we could put a little tip in there and go, congratulations. Okay. And then lastly, all we need to do is simply identify the right question in the quiz. So we would just tick that one there to go that we understand this is the correct answer. So again, same thing that happens is We can theme it, we can share it. If we click on our preview button here, we can look at it and go, that's what it looks like on my school computer. But again, built from the Sway team, if we hit the mobile button, we'll see that it will rescale itself and resize itself for whatever device that it's being used on. So if you're using things like SurveyMonkey or any other kind of forms-based tools that you are paying for, or you've got a free subscription but it's got a banner ad on the bottom of it or something like that, please think about focusing on using the tools that you've got in Office 365 to create or using forms in there. Now, again, one of the things you will notice is if we look at the question, there is that immersive reader. So that immersive reading view will take us into that same immersive reader that we've seen in Word with all of the things. So if we want to translate it into my own language, those tools exist there as well. So you've got that full kind of assistive technology in the background. Again, if I hit share and we look at that, same commands which are available here. There's my link, there's my QR code again, and again we can use that, we can add to the ability around the classroom. So it may well be something that you're using a device like an iPad with a QR code reader, and you stick a QR code on the wall and people go do a bit of a journey, a journey around the classroom in an ideal world, of course, and photograph that with an iPad, then take the test, if you see what I mean. However, in this case, what I actually want to do is I want to use that code here that says embed. So if I look at that embed code there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code and paste it into a web page or Sway. So I'm going to click in the box, we're going to copy it so it's copied and ready to be pasted, and then I'm going to take that code back into my Sway, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste my code here in the embed card that I created in Sway earlier on. So I'm going to do Control and V, and that should now paste that into my Sway. So the result of that now means that if I hit the play button, what I should have now is my Space Shuttle Sway, which we are going across the page. And what you'll then see is here's all the information, and now we have the form or the quiz that I have built into it. So I can actively work on that. So again, my immersive reader, but I can start selecting which answers I want to put in there and submit it. And once I've done that, it's showing me the button to view results because I'm the owner of the form anyway. But if I went back to my form after that, we'll then see that I've now got my response. And my response there is, as you can see. So what will happen is this will basically create a quiz. Students fill it in, it will automatically mark it for you in that respect. So we can get those answers and we can drop them into a result book in Excel if we want to. And this will give you back, that time in setting a quiz or something like that, and allow it to assist you in that respect, if you see what I mean. So Sway and forms are a natural tying together. So the only thing we now have to do is, if we are back here in our Sway, is by sharing our link now, what that will do is it will share everything as one document. Okay, so there's the information, there's the quiz, and allow you to bring that together in one document, which you can use, obviously, time and time again. So that's Sway and forms together. And then what we now do is we'll now just take a quick look at the couple of things with our Minecraft, just to show you that really briefly as well. So I'm now just going to dip out of this really quickly, take you to Minecraft Education Edition. So Minecraft Education Edition is part of Office 365 with the A3 license. And therefore, if you've got your school is licensed via A3, you will actually have this ready to go already. And you can use this on your Windows 10 desktop PC. It also supports iPad and also supports Chromebook as well. And Minecraft Education Edition really is the kind of, yeah, the constructor. We call it Lego back in my day. But this is a tool that if you take this into the classroom, you will find that everybody will know how to use it. There really isn't a great deal of training to be done in the way of making this work for students. So if we just sign in, so I'm actually using the wrong password. I'm actually signing in with my Office 365 account. Okay, and again, if you haven't got this license and you want to play with it, you can go to education.minecraft.net and you can download a 25 use demonstration of it and see some of the great things which are available. So if you haven't used Minecraft before, go and ask your children because they'll tell you all about it. But very simply, what we can do is we can create a world, a constructed world to learn in. So if we go to my library here, what you'll see, because it's an education edition, you will see there are lesson plans, there are build challenges, and there are what we call biomes and worlds. If we look at the lessons will cover everything in primary and secondary as well, from science, maths, computer science. So a great way of getting students to learn the basics of computer science using things like MakeCode. We've got chemistry labs, science experiments, and things like that, social and emotional learning as well. But again, you'll see that some teachers will make great use of this. Some teachers I've seen in the past where they have created two teams in a classroom and they got them to build castles and invade it and test it and things like that. This is something where if you set a student a challenge in Minecraft, you'll get 100 different ways that they constructively solve that problem in that respect. So if I go to my worlds, I can sit here in this is my block of grass. So this is going to just be a flat world. And this allows me as the Minecraft character to move around bits and pieces. But if I hit the chat button and type the word code in there, what I can also do is I can use my computer science skills to code in Minecraft. So if I want to get students to really get that buzz about coding in Minecraft or coding in general, we can use the code builder or MakeCode, which is built into Minecraft. And as you can see here, what I've got is a simple kind of block language. So we would have seen that kind of block language way before, but this has a direct result in the result in the game. So if I over this side here, you'll see I've got a little guy there. There's my agent. My agent is the thing that I can code, so I can get agent to build things. I can get agent to follow algorithms and things like that really easily. If I go back to my code window, you'll see my code window simply says, at the moment, if I go an on-chat command, I'm going to spawn an animal. So again, if I hit the T button here and give it the command chicken, for example, there we go, we have spawned a chicken. As you can see, he's running off there. But really simple, but just to bear in mind that this is part of Office 365. And we can integrate this into Microsoft Teams and a whole host of other applications. But if you've got Minecraft, please use those resources. There are great things that you can do with it in that respect. So that's Minecraft and the coding as well. Let us dip out of there. It's, as I say, a bit of a packed agenda today, but this, as I say, really is that catalyst for you to go. If you want us to run a Minecraft session for you or something like that, please let us know. We will facilitate that for you and give you the best opportunities to kind of focus in on these as well. So if I go back now, the last kind of application I wanted to talk to you today about, before we just jump into the last couple of minutes on the Educator Community, is OneNote itself. Now, again, we touched OneNote last time round in the way of when you build a team, it creates what we call a class notebook. But here is OneNote as a standalone application for you. So OneNote itself is really that digital pen and paper. So again, if you are using a device with digital inking, so if you've got things like a Surface Go with a digital pen, you'll get the best out of using this digital notebook. So I've got here down the left-hand side, I've got what we'll call our sections, and these really relate to a folder divider that you would typically see in an A4 folder. If I go to each section, I will have a page embedded into it. Okay, so as you can see here, for example, if I go to the YouTube page, there I've got a YouTube video. If I want to add a page, so if I want to maybe think about notes I'm going to share with my class or resources or something like that, or making notes myself, I would go to page. I would create myself a nice blank page of which I can type in really easily. So maybe I want to do a bullet list. Or I want to grab a picture from somewhere. So let's try from file. And really, OneNote becomes an amazing way of bringing things together. So I've got the ability, of course, that I can move my blocks around a page nicely. If I go to draw and pick a pen color, for example, I would have the ability to draw and annotate as well. Or simply, I may be using OneNote to be making my own notes. Excuse the handwriting. Again, if you're looking at this as a tool to maybe plan with and things like that, we can obviously do the same thing that we do in the other Office 365 applications. And of course, I can share that as well. So you can do some great things in the way of creating your own content. But as you can see here, what I've also been able to do is I've also been able to integrate that with my existing Office 365 documents. So this is where I have gone to the sway here. I've gone to the share link and I've simply copied this out and dropped that into here. So pasted it in here. And now I've got the ability to, I'm still in draw. And now I've got the ability to use the sway in the same way. So again, when we're thinking about building resources for classes and stuff like that, we can integrate things, the forms that we've got, the sways that we've got, and bring that into OneNote. So again, these might be teacher resources that you want to share with colleagues or something like that, and you can bring all of those in there. Okay. Again, the other thing I would suggest is using the OneNote app on your smartphone. So again, if you've got those resources and you've got extra functionality in the smartphone apps to scan things and drop things into OneNote automatically, there are great resources to do that as well in that respect. So I know we're running pretty short on time, but I'm just going to whip really quickly now through a product which is new to Office 365, which is called Flipgrid. And then we'll just wrap off with just a recap on that educator community. So Flipgrid is, again, new to the Office 365 family. And Flipgrid is all about utilizing video in a really safe and secure way for your class. So basically, in that classroom environment, if you were asking the students questions, you may get regular students who put their hands up and answer questions, but some people like me, when I was in school, were pretty reluctant to do those kind of things. Flipgrid really gives you an opportunity to expand that in the way of being able to use a smart device like an iPad or a smartphone or something like that for you to challenge the student with a question or a topic or something like that and let them record a response to that as well. It's something that the other students don't see, and you can verify it. You can then add it to the collection, make it public and things like that. So what we've got here is a video from yours truly, which is an introduction to the Office 365 tips and tricks Flipgrid. And you would be able to access that directly just by going to this web URL at the top. So again, that is something that I could copy out of here. Okay, I could go into my OneNote. I could go and create let's go into the YouTube page, go to a blank page, and I could actually paste that in to there, and it would embed that Flipgrid page into my OneNote. So if that was a class OneNote or a document, personal OneNote, I've got all of that there. But let's go back to Flipgrid. And Flipgrid would then allow you that if you went to that URL here, okay, you could record a response. You would hit this button here. You would sign in with your Microsoft account. If you're doing this on your smartphone or you're doing this on a device, it would fire up the camera and you could record your answer to my challenge question there. Okay, I can go back and I can go in there and give you feedback and things like that as well. And therefore we can see that conversation kind of growing, but through the art of, or the medium of video rather than text or Word documents and things like that. So again, Flipgrid is absolutely free. As part of Office 365, just go to flipgrid.com, sign in with create yourself an educator's account, and you'll be up and running in using Flipgrid really easy. Again, on the Microsoft Educator Community, so education.microsoft.com, you will find there are plenty of training that's available for everything we've talked about, but including Flipgrid as well. And remember, this is your free CPD resource. Okay, so this is a free CPD resource. All you'd need to do is click up here at the sign in button, sign in with your Office 365 account, and you would then be able to access all of these great resources. So by going to training, you would be able to search through the courses. Obviously, what's really popular at the moment is those key skills to teach in that hybrid classroom that we see at that moment, that remote learning, some students in, some students not kind of classroom. But by going to, for example, training and going to courses, you would be able to see the courses, you'd be able to search for particular things. And as you build out your course knowledge, your profile up here would change and you would see those badges and those certificates being awarded to you in that respect. You'll look at some courses and some training paths. They will have what we call a points balance to them. And if you achieve 1,000 points, that 1,000 points will automatically get you on the Microsoft Innovative Educator platform. So that would be the first step in the Microsoft Teaching Certification pathway. So a Microsoft Innovative Educator can soon become either a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert or an MIET, so that's the Microsoft Innovative Educator Trainer. If you're a MIEE, you really do become one of, have a great working relationship with Microsoft. And back in the normal days, MIEEs are normally taken to the E2 conference for Microsoft. So that used to be a global conference. It's remote this year, of course, but allows you to connect with educators from around the world, and Microsoft kind of really enhance on that relationship. So education.microsoft.com is a really key resource for you to think about, if we do some more training for you, how we can back that up with the right courses, so that continuous kind of CPD provision is there for you in that respect. So I am a few minutes overboard, as we say in the trade. What I'd just like to refresh you with is the fact that, please make sure that this is really used as a catalyst for those resources to get you going further within the Microsoft community. And likewise, if you come back to us in the way of wanting more resources, we can fine-tune, tailor-make, and deliver some specific training to you on those topics. Finally, does anybody have any thoughts, queries, questions? If you don't have a question now, please feel free to email myself or Simon, and we can come back to you directly. Okay, Simon, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I will be sharing the link for the last session in this session. There'll be a YouTube link, and that'll be on our website.
Okay. What I'll do, Simon, is I'll send you across some links regarding some of those extra resources, and maybe we can get them in there as well.
Yep, sounds great.
Cool. Thank you, everybody, for your time. As I say, I hope that's given you more of a deeper dive into using Office 365 and how you can begin to bring those applications together in that respect. So certainly things like Forms and Sway really allow you to do that. The next session that we're going to be running is all about that hybrid classroom environment. So please, would be great to see people on the next session in this series, and we can talk about making the best use of Teams, but also the best device, that best type of device that works for Teams in that kind of remote learning environment as well. So thank you everyone for your time, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.